I don't like to have boring friends, and Mark probably takes the cake for the most interesting friend that I have in investing. Not only, I mean, look, you look the part, man. Not only are you a great stock analyst and a contrarian, what people don't know probably is that you're a successful ring announcer. I mean, what was the best heavyweight fight that you ever announced? Like, what's in your mind, like you've been doing it for 10, 20 years, right? At least.
Yeah, the best heavyweight fight. I mean, the funny thing is usually the best fights are the ones that most people haven't heard of the people in it. But I'll go with Ray Austin versus DeVarrell Williamson. They were two top 10 contenders, and the scary thing was DeVarrell Williamson was a good friend of mine and got knocked out. And I was actually afraid that he was going to the hospital
Oh no.
on a stretcher. And after the fight, I talked to him, and he was all angry that they stopped the fight. And I said, DeVarrell, I thought you were on your way into the ambulance. Like, what are you talking about? He goes, no, I was fine. I said, fine, you were out. Like, like where they don't even count.
Yeah, done.
I mean, he got knocked out. So as a friend, it was scary, but it was a great fight. And two heavyweights who can bang. So that's always fun.
I love it. You did a piece too, I remember, where you trained for a month to fight, to get into the ring and box too. I mean, you're just a brave man, a contrarian, and it carries over to the markets too. So I'm excited to have you on today, man. So I appreciate you making time on a busy day, because everyone's jubilant that the China trade war is seemingly over. What's your take though? I mean, is this just a pause before the next time we get our horns locked with China over tariffs, or what do you think?
I mean, who knows? Is it a pause? Probably, but well, I guess let me back up. It's always a good thing when people are talking, right? So that's certainly a positive development. Does it mean that a deal gets done in the next few weeks? Probably not, but we're certainly making progress. And the fact, as you pointed out earlier in the show, that China came to the table, I think is a really big deal, because I don't know how about you, but I certainly was under the impression that, China has this long, very long, like generations long view of their approach to the world and their approach to world domination, and that they're okay with taking a bunch of pain for a lot of years in order to have that domination 50 years from now, 100 years from now.
No,
And
you're
the
absolutely
fact
right.
that they kind of acquiesced, or at least came to the table so quickly, kind of changes that impression a little bit. So I think it's a big deal.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, I always say that, China, like you point out, thinks in 50 to 100-year time periods, where the U.S. thinks in election cycles and midterm elections, and companies think in quarterly cycles. So big deal there. How have you, I know you're look, you're like me, you're specialized in certain areas, but can trade the markets, or a generalist. Like, how are you handling the volatility around all these trade wars? Where were opportunities that you successfully exploited because of all this volatility, and where do you see things now? Like, after this happens, where's the opportunity in your mind?
So a couple of ways. I mean, as a dividend guy, anytime stocks sell off hard, I get very, very interested. You get those pops in yields, and as a dividend player, you're not too worried about the short term. You're investing in these stocks for, 5, 10 years or longer. So if I get in a little bit too early, that's fine, as long as I'm happy with the stock at that valuation and that price. But I'm also, when that increase in volatility, was a great time to sell options, whether you're selling covered calls, naked puts, or other strategies. Just what a gift anytime the market really has some big issues and volatility explodes. You can make some really, really good income selling options.
Yeah, no, that's a good segue too. Last week we had Austin Wynn from Penny Boys Stock Alerts. He strictly focuses on options in a lot of his team, and that's not an area I spend tons of time in. But volatility is your friend when you're trading options, especially for earning premiums, collecting income. I forgot to mention, you bring it up, dividends, right? You're bringing sexy back to boring dividend investing. I'm going to give you that credit. Your book, it's in the 3rd edition now, Get Rich with Dividends, and then your second book, New York Times bestselling, You Don't Have to Drive an Uber in Retirement. If people haven't read it yet, or if you need graduation gifts, it's that time of year. I'm going to make the full-on endorsement here that you should go out and get a copy. It's even been translated in Japanese, so you are that guy. That's a big deal in Japan too.
Poland and Thailand too. So I can't walk the streets in Gdansk, Poland either. So.
Well, hey, I got a question for you. You started out at Avalon early years ago, very contrarian shop. Biotech, very contrarian right now. You know, I've been biotech and small caps. I've been that guy banging the table going, this can't last forever. Someone cry uncle, rally, please. What do you think? I mean, small caps, biotech, blues, are they over anytime soon?
Yeah, I don't see it. It seems like
Cut, guys, to break. We're out. That's it. Yep. We're former friends. We're not going to be at the table talking anytime soon.
Yeah,
Why?
I wish there was reason. And look, certainly, you know, some individual stocks here and there might end up with some great data readouts and what have you. But I think as a sector, there's just a lot of headwinds, including, you know, what's happening with the federal government. I mean, slashing research, slashing funding in academia, and now this today's executive order where President Trump is talking about, you know, perhaps 80% lower costs for drugs. I think that's I mean, today, you know, the sector rebounded along with everything else, but I think that's going to put a real ceiling on prices and valuations until this gets sorted out and we know exactly what that picture is going to look like.
Do you think, though, I mean, considering the average biotech, for it to go to, you know, preclinical studies to actual FDA approval, unless it's in cancer, it's 7 to 10 years, right? I mean, it's just to get through that process. Do you think the market just says, you know what, this pricing pressure potentially is just too far out there, we're not going to worry about it? Or do you think it's something that hangs over the sector for the rest of the year until you get clarity?
Yeah, I think it does hang over the sector because like I said, you know, a small biotech that has a great data readout, perhaps that you know goes counter to the trend. But you know, if we're talking about the Amgens and the Gileads and the AbbVies and all the big names who perhaps don't know what prices they're going to get for their drugs now in the United States and overseas, if those names have a big ceiling on top of it and those stocks can't rally, I think it's going to be tough for the whole sector, other than perhaps those individual stories here and there.
Yeah, no, I think I agree with that. I can see that the opportunity set gets compressed into those smaller names that aren't generating revenue, right? Let someone else figure out the pricing. So, you know, that does still, all right, we're still friends. You're not completely bearish on biotech.
But you also have to wonder, even that company. So if you're in phase 2, and you're still 5 years away from launching a commercial product, but if they have no idea what price they could possibly get, because historically perhaps a comparable drug was $50,000 a year, and now there's a lot of uncertainty. You know, again, I don't know where the market values that stock even after a positive data readout. So I think we need to see some certainty on pricing before this can shake out. And once that happens, I think there'll be a great buying opportunity. But I do think this uncertainty is going to keep a lid on things for a while.
Well, you got to message me when you think there's a great buying opportunity so that we're in full agreement. So where else are you finding opportunity right now? I mean, I know you're getting ready to host a special event and I believe it might be on options strategies, but I'm not sure. You tell me, where are you finding opportunity in this current market that people should be paying attention to?
So yeah, as you mentioned, I'm hosting an event on Wednesday about option strategies. I love options right now, especially selling them. You know, we always like to buy calls and swing for the fences, but we know those are super speculative. So as the income guy, I like income. I like generating income on a consistent basis, and that's what selling options can do. But other areas as well, you know, I like one of the areas that you're in, oil. Oil's been so beaten up.
I knew I liked this guy, guys. I knew it.
I have a new recommendation coming out in the Oxford Income Letter, I think tomorrow, in the oil sector. Just, you know, anytime a stock has been so beaten up or a sector's been so beaten up and it's a dividend-rich company and sector, that's going to grab my attention real quick. And when you can find catalysts, not just praying and hoping that oil prices are going to rebound, but, you know, specific catalysts to that company. So I think oil is going to be a good place. Perhaps not in the next few weeks. I mean, maybe we rebound, but I think long-term, you're going to be glad that you bought oil stocks today.
No, I agree with you. I mean, we were just at the same conference presenting, and I had a breakout with people, and I said, look, I'm not trying to get you to buy Prairie today or tomorrow, but pay attention to the energy space because it's the cheapest it's been out of all, and it's the cheapest out of all the sectors in the S&P 500. It's completely underweighted, and watch what happens, right? We saw oil rebound, very quickly today, back to, it was 63 at one point today. We were down in the mid 50s not long ago on all this stuff. So I agree with that overall thesis. Forget being biased towards Prairie. I think you got to be exposed to the entire sector. Like that's just
absolutely. And even, even when we saw oil prices really getting hammered a number of years ago, as far as the dividend payers, the big names, they're still paying their dividends. They're perhaps their profits aren't doing great. Their stock might have been going down a little bit, or more than a little bit even, but they were still paying their dividends. They were raising their dividends. So if you're a long-term holder in these kinds of companies, when oil prices come down, man, several years later, you're doing absolutely great. If you're buying, anytime I think you buy oil stocks when oil is in the 50s and lower, you're going to be just fine.
Yeah, I mean, I think on an inflation-adjusted basis, I mean, oil's actually cheap, right? Like 50 should be 65 to 70 if it adjusted for inflation for everyone else in goods. But hey, I want to make sure we bring up that QR code on the screen because that is the landing page to sign up for your special event, How to Trade with Options. There's the book to get. I want to leave that on the screen while I ask you one final question. How much do you love me? No, I'm just kidding.
A lot.
No, man, I love you too. Not like that much. The Fed, what do you think is the next move for the Fed?
I think they're going to really stick to the data. I think Jerome Powell really does not want to be seen as someone who can be pushed around. That being said, if the data says that he should lower rates, I don't think he'll hesitate. But he's got a year left on his employment, probably not coming back after 2026. So I think he wants to kind of prove that he's his own man, and he'll do what the data suggests he should do.
Cool, man. Listen, we got a couple comments. I want to get to them before we let you go. I know it's 5:30 on a Monday, but on oil, seasonal demand and geopolitical instability will disrupt supply again, plus any sniff of rate cuts will be crazy. Agree? Disagree?
Sure, absolutely. I mean, there's always potential catalysts in oil, including political instability. All it takes is OPEC to cut back on production. I mean, we know that they just agreed to increase production, but all it takes is for them to reverse that, as well as all the other instability. I mean, there's a million reasons to like oil when it gets cheap.
No, clear production, you hit on it from OPEC. Totally agree here. Penny Boy Trade Alerts. We'll come back again. Oxford's a great trading club. Love my man Russ over there. You guys got it all figured out. Let's check out Marc's special event this Wednesday. And man, I love seeing you in person more than I do on screen here. It was good to catch up with you and your lovely wife this past week. Look forward to having you on again if you'll come on again, man.
Absolutely. This is the best investing show I've seen in a very long time. So congrats on doing a great job. And I can't wait to tune in every week.
Unsolicited, that's going on the website. My friend and fellow contrarian analyst, Marc Lichtenfeld. Enjoy the rest of your Monday night, my buddy. We'll talk again soon. And